got to get your thoughts, dude. I mean, Tennessee wins over Florida. It was expected. That was supposed to happen. Of course, Tennessee found a way to make it interesting in the end, but the Vols are 4-0 with the bye week.
Yeah, they're exactly where we wanted to be. And look, Tennessee was supposed to win, but history tells us it's never going to be easy. And, watching that game, I talked about it on our post-game show. I had this eerie, strange confidence as the game played out because of what Tennessee was doing offensively. And Hendon Hooker, going into the game, we talk about Cedric Tillman being out, and you're really leaning on your senior quarterback to kind of pick up this team, carry this team to victory, and that's exactly what he did. But Tennessee always finds a way to make it interesting down the stretch, and a lot of people in this fan base questioning the decision to go conservative. Why didn't they stay aggressive? So many things to talk about. It's almost a good time to have a bye week because there's a lot of questions, but at the end of the day, Tennessee's 4-0. It's not only big for this 2022 season, it's big for this program. I think Billy Napier was coaching scared the whole game, going out there, going for it on fourth down, right out of the chute. He told you what he was going to do, and then even at halftime, his comments, hey, we're right where we want to be. We just wanted to be in this at halftime. That tells you Josh Heupel is kind of shifting this rivalry and turning it upside down.
Yeah, I did think that halftime comment was a little weird from him. It's like, I mean, dude, this isn't Tennessee versus Ball State. Like, I mean, this is Tennessee, Florida. I don't care. I don't care what the line says. This is Tennessee, Florida. Of course, you're going to be in this football game. That made no sense to me. But I get what he was saying. I understand his thought process. I mean, going for it on fourth down, trying to shrink the game. I mean, Tennessee only had, I think, 11 offensive possessions. Typically, Tennessee has 14 or 15 in a football game. So, a mission accomplished in that realm. And again, there at the end, it just seemed weird for me because Tennessee is always so go, go, go. So, when you're trying to milk the clock, when you're trying to run that 4-minute offense, Tennessee was able to take off almost 3 minutes and go 22 yards. And they still went for it on fourth down. A lot of people are like, why didn't you kick the field goal? Listen, I know Chase McGrath made that field goal at Pitt, but 47 yards is not a gimme. So I'm fine with them going for it on fourth down in that situation. They were being aggressive. It's just you didn't run a play to the stick. So anyway you want to spin it, it was interesting at the end. But kind of like what you said, this win. I mean, Florida's not winning the Super Bowl this year, that's for sure. But what can a win like this do for this team this year moving forward into SEC play?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it all offseason, right? How big it is for Tennessee to start September, start the season, go 4-0 in September, and set yourself up for 8-4, which I think 8-4 is a good season. Now you've got national media. You got all these people out there like Roman Harper. You got Josh Pate saying 10 wins, 11 wins, and sometimes we maybe need to calm down just a little bit. There's still some football to play, going on the road to take on LSU, the game after the bye week. That's still a tough game. That's still a toss-up. Tennessee, obviously it's in our favor that game's a noon kick, 11 o'clock local time. That's a huge advantage for Tennessee. Kentucky, October 29th, that's still a tough football game. Obviously, Alabama and Georgia. Tennessee still got some work to do, but you set yourself up nicely to get to 8 or 9 wins on the year, which I think is huge progress going into year 2 for Josh Heupel. Just huge to start the season 4-0. And I know, we talk about Pitt and it being a toss-up game, and it was. Florida being a toss-up game, even though Tennessee was favored in both of those games. But just to put a stamp on that Florida game, 10 years from now, we're not talking about Hendon Hooker and this football team going on the road and beating Pitt. We're talking about the importance. We remember the quarterbacks, the players that beat the Gators. And I think, that was the perfect way to wrap up a solid start to September for this football team. And I don't think we've seen their best football yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still ways that Tennessee can obviously get better. Loads of improvement need to happen on the defensive side of the football, no doubt about it. But even offensively, it took them. Hendon was running all game long, but it took them 2.5 quarters to get Jabari Small in the run game going. It finally got going. Nonetheless, on the VFL Players Lounge, the Game Day podcast at VolQuest.com leading up to the game, had Jabari Davis on, the Gator Killer, and Jack Jones. And both those guys were talking about how this could be a legacy game for Hendon Hooker. Just like what you were saying, like 10 years down the line, we're going to remember who beat the Florida Gators, how it happened. I don't think anybody's going to forget Hendon Hooker's performance. I mean, what a day.
Yeah, absolutely huge. And it's funny. I've not listened to we're recording this on Thursday, so I've not listened to Locked On Vols for today. But a lot of times I do a Monday morning show, do a Monday stream, and just kind of recap the weekend and just a casual show. And I usually put on Locked On Vols while I'm getting the stream set up, and I was laughing because Monday on your show, and I know what your title is for today, but Monday you were saying, guys, it's too early. It's too early to be talking about Hendon Hooker for Heisman. And as you said those words, I'm typing in Talkin VAWLS morning stream, Hendon Hooker for Heisman. Hey, it's not too early, Eric. Let's get it going. Let's get the campaign going.
SEO, baby, SEO.
It is not too early. Hendon Hooker. And it's the same mindset of saying we're going to remember this game because he beat Florida. When you talk about Heisman Trophy campaigns, you talk about individual games. Obviously, wins and losses. You got to get, I think, 9 wins minimum. 10 is more likely to get him in that conversation. But then they talk about individual game performances, and they don't talk about, oh, well, you threw for 300 against Ball State or Akron or Tennessee Martin. They talk about 350 yards against Florida, putting 100 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns. Again, this is something a lot of people didn't really beat into the ground. He did it without Cedric Tillman. One of the best wide receivers in the country was on the sideline, and Hendon Hooker said, let's go take care of the Gators. And that's what we're talking about when we get to the end of the year. We're remembering the games like the Floridas. Can he put a performance like that together on the road against LSU? I think we get the campaign going. Let's talk it up. RG3 likes it. RG3 likes himself some Tennessee Vols.
Hey, you said you haven't listened to a Thursday Locked On Vols yet, but I swear you have, because I mean that's pretty much what I said. And meaning for this thing to get real now, I mean he's one of college football's best, no doubt about it. And I read off some stats of some other people who are kind of in that conversation right now. But for later on in the season, for him to really be in that conversation, you got to be one of the big boys. You got to beat Alabama or Georgia, right? You're exactly right. What you do against Florida is huge. It means so much more against what you do against Pittsburgh, in my opinion. But you need a 350, 100-yard, 4 touchdowns, some type of day like that against an Alabama to where you might not beat the Crimson Tide, but you're right there. Or against Georgia to where you give Georgia a scare down to the last minute of the football game or win or something like that. So I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'm giddy to see how this can turn out potentially for this Tennessee offense. What a catch from Ramel Keaton. We're talking about players who stepped up without Cedric Tillman. Ramel Keaton, a guy that I, said is what it is. And that it's, I don't think he's going to be a big factor for this team. I said that all preseason. It is. Yeah. Hey, I was wrong. I'm not saying he's an All-American, but boy, he has looked good. He had a big time catch and run for a first down before that. And just laying out full extents, that drive of the year, 99-yard drive. What a play from Ramel Keaton.
Yeah, huge play. And just talking about that middle 8, right? That middle 8 segment where Tennessee was able to go 99 yards. And, the play Hendon Hooker made right before that, where he just sidestepped, hit Princeton Fant was big. But one of the, obviously everybody's talking about the big play down the sideline because that's Sports Center top 10 type of stuff. But the play you're talking about where he was a little short of the change, goes and breaks a few tackles, big time play right there. And I was the same way with Ramel Keaton leading into the year. And part of what I looked at is it's like, okay, Cedric Tillman made improvement year 1. When Josh Heupel came in, he was a different wide receiver. So you want to call it the system, coaching, whatever you want to talk about. Ramel Keaton was kind of like Jalen Hyatt. It's like, okay, you had a full year with Josh Heupel. But I liked Ramel Keaton's comments with the media this week, kind of similar to Jalen Hyatt. Hey, it's on me. I didn't put in the work. And I think that's the type of stuff Ramel Keaton can teach to those young guys. Jalen Hyatt can teach to those young guys. It's on you. This system works. Bayless Jones said, the quote I love from him, what wide receiver wouldn't want to play in this offense? We've seen that it works. It's worked for Jalen Hyatt, for Bayless Jones, for Javonte Payton, Cedric Tillman. Look, it works. You just got to put in the work. And Ramel Keaton, I was putting in the work, not enough work. Learn, teach these young guys, and let's bring along this football team moving forward.